everyone, and thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean the Vaping Biker. It's Sunday, so we're going to have a go at getting a vlog out actually on the right day, as well as doing other reviews. Oh my word, been on fire this week. Anyway, let's get stuck into things, shall we? Let's have a little chat about what we've done thus far. So I always change up my my format, I think, on these, but never mind. Let's just keep it nice and chatty today, shall we? I'll try and keep it quick, but, you know, it's me. So, we did, nearly a week ago, I did a vlog-ish highlighting the SX 450J Q-Class, which I'm still rocking and enjoying very, very much. And I used this a little while ago. If you've seen my Instagram or Facebook, you'll have seen that I've put a whole bunch of pictures up, I think, recently of various outings where I've been using it. I still think it's a really lovely mod. It's lovely to hold. But there are some interesting things just to talk about in the review as well, and hopefully that'll be coming up sooner rather than later. Now I've really knocked the crap out of it, so to speak. So, what else has gone? We've had the Smoant Night. Have I got that in front of me? No, that's downstairs on my table that I sit next to when I'm watching telly. Still enjoying the Smoant Night. You know, I think for the money, I think it's absolutely tip top. If you want to spend more money, it could be more accurate. It could do a little bit better on a few things, but otherwise, it's been a little cracker. I think it's really, really good. Then we had a first look at the Kanga Dripbox 160. I'm still using this. I'm still squonking away. A lot of people have put comments, even though I've sort of put in there that I'm not going through answering individual comments, especially the same comments time after time, because that's what the review is for. The first look was literally just that, just to get you to see what it was and to give you a sort of a vibe for it. I've currently just put a 0.17 coil in there at 88.8 watts, and yeah, that's not 88.8 watts, but that could be down to the coil. That's the lowest I've built in there. But otherwise, I've still been enjoying it. I've still been having a jolly good time with it. It's going to be interesting to see when I do the full review about kind of the actual power outage and what it really is putting out to the coils, because we know that occasionally that can be a little bit hit and miss with a few of the Kanga products. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I've got my Anchorman t-shirt on. I found it again the other day and it makes me smile. I haven't got that in the top of the screen just because I'm really up myself. But anyway, right, what else? Then I did the Advocacy video. We've lost battles, but the war is yet to be won. Advocacy in the UK. And I firmly stand behind everything I said on that. It amused me greatly that after saying basically through that I don't believe in petitions in any way, shape or form on this one, and our petition is going to do next to nothing. What is going to make a difference is educating the individuals that would do the voting, and so that's writing through right to them to get your point across, what vaping has meant to you, and encourage them to kind of be on our side of the fence, if you like. That I still stand by, and if you want to carry on doing petitions, then fill your boots. However, doing that alone is not going to make any difference whatsoever. So unless you kind of write, and it's not intricate, it's not sort of delicate that what you've got to write in there. Just write down what vaping means to you, how it's helped you, the sort of flavors that you use, and you know, your experience with it, and to try and help them have a more solid understanding that, you know, Public Health England and Royal College of Physicians are saying how much safer it is. So, you know, please vote in our favour. That, I think, is important. I'm not going to go into any more because there's a video for that, so go and watch it. It's a bit upsetting that the drip box got kind of 4,349 views, but the advocacy video only got 1,700. I imagine there'll be a bunch of viewers that have seen it from the States and so aren't interested in advocacy in the UK. However, I still think that, you know, we all need to make more of an impact, and I think a lot of reviewers are talking about it now, quite rightly. As well as that, we did the Presser TC 100 watt from Wismec, which I stand by as a cracking little device. What have I done with it? Have I put it somewhere? It's not small. Must be downstairs as well. I still think it's a little corker. I think it's a little cracker to put the 30mm X1 on there. I think looks awesome. I think that's really cool. But also, I think just as a using device, you know, especially if you've got issues with hands or your grip strength or anything like that, you know, trying to press buttons all the time may not work in your favour. But something like the Presser is so easy to use that I think that's a viable option, and I think that's really good for that purpose. Also today we've done a Clapton jig review, which I think is great. I think it's a great little bit of kit. I think it still could do with a few little improvements, to be fair, but I think it's a super handy bit of kit to use if you're doing longer lengths of Clapton wire. It just makes life easier. And once again, if you've got issues with finger dexterity or anything like that, it's just another thing that you can use that's going to help that process along. I'm currently uploading my Limitless RDTA review. That's a monstrous 57% after it's been loading for ages. But yeah, so that's been pootling on through, and I do like it. I like it. I bought it at Expo. I then completely forgot the company that I bought it from because I'm a muppet. But yeah, I bought it and I am loving using it. I really am. The review on that, I think, highlights most of the ways that I like to build it. As I've mentioned in the review, you know, there's loads of different. Each reviewer, I think, is going to have their own way of wicking things, whether it's short wicks or long wicks or whatever else. And you can do whatever you fancy, really. You know, I mean, as long as you keep your wicks reasonably fluffy, then you're on a winner. But I think it just works really, really well. Look at that! Look at that! I'm happy with that. Am I a bit shiny? I don't know if that's my normal thing. What if I do that? Oh, a little bit less shiny. Marvellous. Marvellous. Really, really do like that. And it's cheaper, under 30 quid. This Limitless and iJoy RDTA or Dripper Tank or whatever you want to call it, I think it's spectacular. And as I said in the review, I have one long wick and one short wick each side. And for me, that just seems to wick brilliantly for how I vape it, you know. So great guns with that one. I've really enjoyed using that, and I will continue. That's going to be in my daily rotation faux show. I'm really dry today. Done a lot of talking. So that's the videos that I've covered this week. And just to give you an update, can't remember what I did prior to that, but my little squonk box hasn't blown up yet. Yeah. So that's still working. I'm rather pleased about that. On top of that, I have got the new Steam Crave, or the newer version of the Steam Crave RDA, which is pig ugly. It really is, and it's huge for a sort of comparatively small build deck. But I've stuck it on there because I'll probably do a review on that at some point. And it's working. It's doing it. Nice. It's working lovely. And yeah, so I might actually stick down the internals so they are where they should be, well, with regards to the battery tray and the voltmeter anyway, as it doesn't appear to be going pear-shaped. So, yay, happy days. Now, what else has happened now then? Rick, who I am on the Ohm Show with as one of the co-hosts, Rick owns modmaker.co.uk and gets obviously sells mod making parts. That's where I got the internals and the bits to make my my little wooden box. But he's also started doing a Noisy Cricket button upgrade kit. Now, thanks very much to Rick for this, but also thanks very much to Sean and Bess, because they traded me the Noisy Cricket that they had, because I didn't have one. I was one of the few people in the world that didn't. I did have my Darwin one, but then I had to sell that. So you know, this is what I've got now. But what I've done is I bought this because I wanted to try the upgrade kit. Now, I will do a proper little video about this. The couple of buttons and the 510, the hybrid 510 connector that were on the Noisy Cricket are notorious for having issues. So it's interesting to see what comes across here. Now, the button is not bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. But the interesting thing, I find it better, by the way, than the one that's installed in the Noisy Cricket. But the interesting thing that I really liked as well is it gives you, instead of the hybrid connector for your RDA or tank or whatever, which, as we know, can cause a lot of problems if you've not got a protruding 510, this actually gives you a floating pin. Windy pops. So you can use a whole bunch of different atomizers on here to really give you a good kind of vibe going on. Now, on here at the moment, I've got this Supreme, which is a dripper from Advocacy, which is in the review queue. Now, if I show you what I've got to play with here, just to give you an indication. Did it boo? Close, sharp and sheeted. There we've got, it's very slightly protruding, but not very much at all. And so what you've got here is you've got this 510 pin. So you screw that on there, like so. And now we've got a protruding 510 with insulation that you can use with confidence on your Noisy Cricket, which I think is absolutely superb. And I also think that if you're one of these people that have been sort of put off by the Noisy Cricket or put off by a hybrid connection, then you know, this is an absolute win. And also, I think I would hope that some shops and stuff will get this in as well, but purely because it does make it a lot safer. Now let's have a little vape, shall we? This little RDTA here is working like a little trooper. It's got bottom airflow and side airflow. You can close the side airflow off, and I'm really enjoying using it. Oh, there's the button. It didn't fire that time. But there is a reason for that. There's a copper sleeve inside the button, and sometimes pressing this on a slight angle makes it absolutely spot on. But like I say, I'll come to it in the review. Now, as well as the 510 and the button, you get it in a little tube like this, and because inside here you've essentially got a mech. So you pop your button on the bottom, and you pop your connector on the top, and there we go. You've got a copper mech, and I think it's only about 15 quid. Which is ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. So you get a mech, and you get a sort of safety features for your Noisy Cricket as well, which I think is awesome. I think at a time when, you know, it was a super popular device and people didn't necessarily always know about hybrid adapters, or didn't know rather about sort of longer 510s, because it's a hybrid and direct connection to your battery, and so giving them this gives a sort of a definite safety level. Not actually got that down tight enough, that's why. No. See, straight down. Oh, it does work. Maybe I'm just not pressing it right. There you go, we're working now. So yeah, it's connectivity wise, I think is fine. It's just a little bit of a thing inside there. We're getting a bit vapey in here, aren't we? We're getting a bit vapey already. So I do think it's absolutely worth the money involved. Button isn't perfect, as I've said, but it is better than the one that you get with the Cricket, in my opinion. It's by Fat Daddy Vapes, by the way. So what else? So this week I have been I went for a job interview. That was nice. Didn't get the job, but apparently I was spectacular and been put forward for something else. But you know, it's another one of not getting a job, which is a pain in the ass. Written away for a whole bunch of jobs. I've just been super busy. It's been a ridiculous week. Doing well on the ums today, aren't I? Now then, what is going to come up next? We're going to be having a look at the JWell stuff that I mentioned before. I think I possibly will do a review of the theorem. We'll have to wait and see about that one. And we've got the Trinity glass tanks, both the top caps, like I showed you before, which we've got. That's on my Velocity, which is on the Squonker there, and I am loving that. I just love these glass caps. They are absolutely perfect air for me. I have been trying to get hold of a Kennedy 22mm, just so I can show you the Kennedy one when I do the review, but unfortunately I haven't been able to get hold of one of those, so I may not be able to show you that because it's only the deck that I really need. But yeah, so I haven't been able to show you that. So I will be able to show you a whole bunch of other stuff and drip tips and all that sort of good fun shit. So what else has been happening? Oh, the website. The website of I'm trying a different thing. I asked on my Facebook page the other day if people still read. Or I actually asked on the website and then posted to Facebook. Because what I'm thinking of doing is I am going to be putting a section into the website where you can subscribe to it if you really want to. But every time I put a blog up, then you'll see it. But at the same time, I want some reviews on there. I want to do reviews on some things I buy, and it's just for me. You know, it's just because I fancy it. It might not be the newest bit of kit. It might be something that I've had for a while, or there might be an update to something, and there might be sort of an extra kind of aspect to a review that I want to highlight. And things like living with the product for a period of time, you know. And so I figured it would be nice to possibly do a little bit of a written review, a couple of photographs, all that sort of malarkey, because people don't always want to watch a whole video just to get an opinion on something. So I think that might be the case. It's not going to be for everything I review on here on YouTube, but it will be getting used in other ways. And I've also spoken to Mrs. Biker, who is up for writing a few bits and bobs as well, because she has a different way of vaping to the way I do. She'll kind of vape because it's vaping, it's keeping her off cigarettes, so she likes a simple device, a simple tank, simple RDA, while she will do coiling herself and all that sort of stuff. She likes to keep everything nice and straightforward because she hasn't kind of got that hobbyist aspect that a lot of us have got. So it's nice to get her opinion on things as well. So she's going to write the occasional article or whatever you want to call it in there as well, and she might even include some bits and bobs on juice, because she's obviously got better taste buds than I have, because as we know, my taste buds are shit. But I think that's it. I think from a new stuff kind of level, I haven't really had a great deal of new stuff in that I haven't shown you already, and I have got some stuff coming this week. I know I've got some stuff coming from Tesla. I've got a couple of products from them. The Stealth, which is a little tiny kind of unregulated side-by-side, which is, it looks like a lovely bit of kit. I did see it at Expo and thought it was cool. They are going to send me a Nano as well, just because there's been a lot of talk about the Nano, and I'd like to try one out. That may be one of the first written reviews that goes out, because it has been out for a little while now, and there's a whole bunch of reviews out there already for it. But we'll see. If I get particularly enamoured by it, then I may record a review as well. We'll see what goes on with that one. But I've also got a bunch of other stuff. I've got the DHL notifications on the phone, and I think I've had 4 DHL notifications for deliveries tomorrow. Not a clue what the other 3 are. So looking forward to seeing what's coming on there. Oh, you can tell I'm tired. The dog. Oh, the dog, bless her, bless her. We got her to have a haircut. We had a very nice lady near to the village who grooms dogs, and so Dizzy's had a haircut and she looks fabulous. But because it's this part of the year, she has allergies, and she has allergies to grass. Now, when I first found that out, which is a few years ago now, I thought, well, how does a dog have an allergy to grass? You'd think that, you know, that was the sort of thing they're kind of okay with, but apparently not, and it's quite the thing. So she's super itchy, so having to wear the cone of shame quite a lot at the moment, so she doesn't sort of damage herself scratching under her chin or around the back of her head or something like that. So bless her cotton socks, but she's all going well. I love my dog. I love my dog. I would get her involved and let her in here, but A, this room is tiny, and B, she's a bull in a china shop and would just fuck everything up. It would go all over the show. It really would. So one of the other things I put out into the world this week, out on my Facebook page, was asking questions. Because I get quite a lot of emails, and I get quite a lot of various messages in various forms, be it on Instagram or Facebook or by email or Twitter, and so I thought I'd give an opportunity to throw a bunch in there. And to be honest, I didn't really expect to have many comments or many questions that have come out of it. So funnily enough, I did. I've had quite a few. So I'm going to go through as many as I can. I've got them on the other screen here. In fact, let me see if I can move my screens around so I'm not looking away from your pretty faces all the time, and we'll see what we've got going on, shall we? Right, sit down, get a vape. Oh, now then, here we go. So, Matt Hood, Coils, the series, part 2. Yes, Matt. Yes, absolutely. I do want to do that. The first coiling one that I did a month or two back now, I really enjoyed doing, and a lot of people told me it was super helpful, so I do really want to progress with that, but it's just been a time thing. I've had a lot of people ask me the question, and to be honest, it's just getting the time in there within the review queue as well, to make sure that I can get both product reviews out in an appropriate time. I can use the equipment and thoroughly give it a good kick in to make sure that when I do the review, it's as accurate as I can make it. And also kind of normal life stuff, looking for work, looking for jobs, doing things like that sort of stuff. So that all kind of, and apparently I have to do housework. What's that all about? Yeah, so once I get the time, once I find the time, I absolutely will do a part 2. I've already planned out what I'm going to do, but it does take it takes longer to record something like that, excuse me, than it does record just a straightforward review. For instance, my coiling jig review that I did earlier today, it took ages, and it has lots of sections in it, and picture in picture and various bits and bobs, and so the actual recording is lengthy, the editing is lengthy, and yeah, so I want to make sure it's good. I want to make sure it's useful for you, so I do have to dedicate a fair sort of block of time to be able to do that. Right, so hopefully that's answered that one. Now, Rob Vincent, best entry-level squonk setup, mod and topper. That's a tough one, because what is entry-level, you know? The Kanga drip box, the first one they come out with, which is kind of like an unregulated, is a cheap and cheerful way of getting involved with it, for sure. That's certainly a way of being able to kind of get a vibe whether you're going to like squonking or not, because it does do that. But you do need to be able to, I think you have to build your own coils, because the pre-mades are a bit shit. And I think you do have to kind of understand, obviously you need your Ohm's law and all that sort of stuff, but it's going to be relevant to how you like vaping as well. Plus the RDA that came with the one that I reviewed. Now, I don't know if they've upgraded it to the one that's on the Dripbox 160. If they have, it'll have a little mouth to lung hole, which the original one didn't. But if they have upgraded it, then that's going to make squonking a lot better as well. Otherwise, going up from there, things like if you're going to be looking at about kind of the £100 level, 100-ish pound level, I think getting one of the boxes from Matt M Vapes. Personally, I love these. I've got 2 of the dual 18650 unregulated, or mechs, these are full mechs. 2 of the 18650s and one 26650. They're big chunky bunkers, but you know, if you're okay with a big box, that's fine. But he does do a single 18650 as well, which is obviously kind of, you know, you can knock off a whole section on this. I think these are really well made. They've got a nice finish to them, and Matt at M Vapes also does things like Wotofo RDAs that are converted to with squonk pins. So that is a cheap and cheerful way of getting into that. Once we move up a little bit, I think we've got the Lost Vape Squonker, which is coming out. I think that's going to be around about the 130 quid range, but then obviously you've got to get your RDA on top of that. Luckily, a lot more RDAs are coming with squonk pins now, but things like the Hasta V2 RDA is a little squinky, that's a new word, tiny little RDA, which I think works great and is super cheap as well. But a lot more RDAs are coming with squonk pins, so hopefully that helps. Jimbo Burrell, what superpower perks does your beard grant? None, because, well, other than just being desperately sexy, but unless I put loads of stuff on it, it just looks shit. I'm not a natural beard grower, so you know, trying to make it look presentable is quite the challenge. So plus I have to say that it doesn't give me any, because if it did give me any, and then I was caught on the news saving a coach load of orphans from hitting a dog in the middle of the road and making everyone happy across a bridge that's been blown up by unpleasant people, then you'd know it was me. So, you know, I can't reveal. Does it make me fly? Ooh, who knows? Right, Brad Smith, the TPD fight isn't over, but if it came into effect for you, what is the worst thing? For me, and just to mention juice, liquid, 10ml, angry face. On a happier note, favourite type, juice profile, custard, ? So, TPD, no, the fight isn't over, as we've talked about earlier in this vlog. I did a video and that explains how you can get involved with that one. This evening, actually, there's an interesting programme. It's 7:30 now, and I think at 9:30 there's a programme on BBC Two that is a journalist kind of voyage into the world of vaping and understanding if it is harmful or not. So I'm certainly interested in seeing that, because we as vapers, and especially as hobbyists that kind of watch reviews and get involved with all this sort of stuff, we know what vaping has done for us. We know we've heard all the arguments a million times, and so hopefully we're going to get some positive press and positive media out of that one. But with regards to the worst thing for me, the 10ml juice aspects, should this come through, the 10ml bottles sucked balls, obviously, but I'm imagining that there's going to be ways that people will deal with that. So we're going to have to see if it does actually have a seriously negative impact, because thankfully with a wide variety of things like unicorn bottles, none of which I've got here in front of me, and with things like this, then as long as you're not going to be getting charged over the odds for having 3 10ml bottles, then you can put them in a single container and you've still got a 30ml bottle. Tanks, it depends on the availability, because there still seems to be a lot of confusion exactly what it means to imported equipment, what it means in various places. To be honest with you, there's a lot of discussion as well with tanks where you'll buy a 2ml tank, but there is an extension kit available for it. So, that's going to be, once again, we're looking at ways of getting around it where we're not fully 100% solid on what it actually means in the first place, in some instances at the very least. So there is that to worry about, but we're going to wait and see. Advertising, I think, is the key thing for me. Advertising is the thing that's really going to annoy me, purely because without adequate advertising, how are people going to know? So not necessarily relevant to us as vapers, once again, but it's relevant to the smokers, and it's relevant to the people that are going to take up vaping. If you don't hear about it, if you don't see it, if it's not a normal thing, then how are you going to know it's there, for one, and for two, it kind of segregates it. It doesn't normalize vaping. People say normalizing vaping is a bad thing. Well, I think not. I think normalizing it as an option and to get off cigarettes is absolutely the future. And by hiding it away and squirreling it away in sort of secret corners, I think is not the best way of doing that. Right, let's try and power through. Nick Martin, my taste buds are shot. I know yours ain't good. So the £1 million question is, what breed of spaniel do you have? Also, favourite flavoured juice. It's a Springer Spaniel. Bless her, she's 15 last month, I think it was. And so she's an old girl now. But favourite flavoured juice, I am a picky bastard. I really am. I go through stages. You know that if you've been watching my channel for a while, Stash is still above all my favourite line of juice, just because every single juice in that line is absolutely spectacular. Lushington and Dark Star are my two favourites out of those, but I really enjoy every single one of them. I've not spoken to the Stash guys for a little while, so I haven't sort of been kept up. I haven't kept up with new releases, but I'm sure they're all spectacular. But I do need to speak to Josh and find out what the score is from the TPD aspect. You know, once we've got that full information, what if they're doing anything within Stash to be able to sort of help comply with the TPD stuff. But otherwise, things like Grumpy Custard. Let me take you through a couple of the regulars. Grumpy Custard is a constant. I really do like that. Biker Bounty. Simon at Strawberry Fields made me up some of my own juice, which I thought was lovely. And so I've been powering through that quite a lot. Deja Voodoo from Wick Liquor, that is an absolute cracker, and certainly something I really enjoy that at high wattage, dripping or squonking. That just, I love you. I love it. I love it. I love all that sort of stuff. What else have we got? We've got Chuff Stuff. This is the Camper's Delight. I've been enjoying this massively. The TV, the Yorkshire Vapor, TYV. This is the OC, which is sort of an orangey custard, which is very nice, but it's quite angry on the coils, from what I can remember. So whilst I do use it, I don't put it in tanks or squonkers. Generally making sure that I use it just for dripping. What else? If you've been watching my Instagram, I've still got a bit of this. We up here though. Oh, we out here though. So I've still been powering through into some of that, and I think that's the main juices I've been using. I can't see anything else. Oh, I have been having a little bit of this Sours. This is the Caramel Apple Pops, and I've got this. What have I got this in? I've got this on the Noisy Cricket in the Supra. So yeah, I've got a wrong connection somewhere along the line. I have, I bet I've undone this button. And that's what the bloody problem is. Because I'm a muppet. Let me just do this. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. That's too big. Long-handled Allen keys. Just the best thing in the world. Such a good idea. They really are. Right, get that on there. Screw it down nice and tight. There we go, we're cooking. Marvellous. And that's quite nice, like this Sauz, S-A-U-Z, Sauz. Where does it come from? Don't know. Haven't even looked at it. But I got that at Expo and thought it was alright. So there we go. Now I'm taking too long answering these questions. There's loads of them. Let's try and get quicker. Have a word with yourself, Dean. I'm a mouth sealer. This is from, so I hope that answered your question anyway, Nick Martin. Thank you very much for asking. Paul Guest, I'm a mouth-to-lung vapor and looking for the best rebuildable mouth-to-lung tank for flavour. Oh, and this will be 4 weeks off the stinkies after 43 years of smoking. A lot of success is down to you and your vids. Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Well done. First of all, well done off getting off the stinkies. Well done of doing that one. 4 weeks in, you have got a massive journey ahead of you, full of fun and joyful stuff. And if you get involved into the aspect of the hobbyist side of vaping and the rebuildables, and then you'll start collecting mods, and then you'll end up spending a bucket load of money on shiny things because it's fun. But if you don't, and you're sticking with a setup that you're very happy with, then full power to you, my friend. Hope you very much enjoy it. Now, I'm not really a mouth to lung vapor, to be honest with you. I could do a little bit of mouth to lung in now and then, and the next kind of mouth to lung affair that I'll be going for is the Nautilus X from Aspire. But generally, I mean, I think you've got people like Mark Todd that are probably better than I am to be able to tell you a good strong mouth to lung tank. But generally, things like the K-Funs, and with the bringing out of the K-Fun 5. The 4 was the one with a gazillion parts, wasn't it? The 5, I think that's going to be good. The K-Fun 3 Mini, the little 19mm one, that sort of stuff, from what I'm hearing, is spectacular. I haven't tried either of them, but yeah, that's spectacular. Funnily enough, the best mouth to lung, in as much as getting a restriction, that I've used has been the Monster of a Boreas, which is really dirty. The Monster of a Boreas tank, which is massive, and it's generally meant for a kind of a very airy vape. But because of the way the airflow ring is on it, you can get a really tight mouth to lung draw on it, which I think is fantastic. But yeah, so those are the only kind of options that I would go for. But having said that, as I say, it's not really my style, so I would go along to see Mr. Todd and see what he has to say, because he likes his mouth to lungs, even though he is going a little bit clouds bro clouds, and it wasn't that long ago I saw him with a baseball cap on. Ooh. So sorry I can't be more help, Paul, but thanks very much for asking. Brad Smith, so many questions. I'm going to think on it, make it a good one. Sometimes it's just fun to research stuff. Thanks for the opportunity to use your vaping knowledge. That's lovely. Hopefully your question, Brad, was the TPD one and the custard, or the favourite flavours one. James Thurman, I've seen your bike. What kind of car do you drive? Well, I haven't actually got a car with MOT at the moment. So I bought, when I had a particularly bad time with my ankylosing spondylitis and fibromyalgia, I bought a 5 Series, an old 5 Series Beamer, just because it was auto, because it was comfy and a heavy car, which meant I could drive it without any issue. But yeah, it's not great having your spine being a bit buggered, but no. So I've still got that, whilst it's not got an MOT at the moment. So I will need to get that sorted out at some point in time. But unfortunately, the Capri has now gone off to my sister-in-law and soon-to-be brother-in-law, and so they're giving that some love, because unfortunately, once again with the illness, I wasn't able to do the work on it that it needed. But that's a big shame. But no, I like older cars. I like to feel you driving. Like the Capri, I had an old P100 pickup not so long ago. That was just pig and awesome. So yeah, that was that. And James, you've also asked about the interview, and I told you, unfortunately, yeah, I didn't get that. But thanks very much for asking. Very kind of you. Fred Manning, do you like puppies? Yes, both the doggy ones and other variations. When is your juice line coming out? Well, week next Tuesday. How do you feel about the Brexit thing? Oh, I think the European vote is going to make zero difference to us as vapers, to be honest with you, because it's too late. It's too gone down the line now. If whatever happens over the next few weeks is going to be us, and if we come out of Europe, it's not someone clicking their fingers and then suddenly we make up our own laws. So it's going to take years to amend that and change that. So if the politicians aren't in our favour now, I can't see that being any different once we vote out. However, I am voting out, so there. But not vape because of vaping. Now then, Mark Ridgway, if I shaved my golden retriever like a lion, would he get more respect from other dogs? Quite possibly. But unfortunately, golden retrievers don't really have that big, thick hair, do they? So, I think you're going to miss the lion look. But yeah, I think, no, just make other dogs jealous about how great he is with tricks. I think that's probably the best way. Adam Cockrell, what is your favourite wire at the moment for coil building? So I like stainless 26 gauge stainless 316L. I'm using a lot, particularly for testing temp control, but also because I think it is the safest option to Canthal, and much safer than Ni200 and titanium and all that sort of stuff. Because if your mod does jump out of temp control and goes into wattage mode, or you're a new vapor and don't know what you're doing as well as you could do, then it's easy to fire one of these nickel or titanium titanium or whatever coils in wattage mode, and that's a bad thing. You don't want to do that. So stainless, I think, is absolutely a really good kind of midway for getting a decent vaping experience, and also getting a good mix of either temp control or wattage. I do want to try 317 just because I think it holds together a little bit better under high heat. So for things like drippers and getting a clean flavour, I think that's exactly what I want to go for. So there you go. Hope that helps a little bit. But otherwise it's N80. So it's N80, and I'll go down to 22 gauge for that bad boy. I've got all gammy in me eye. Barry Spath. How grateful are you? The missus puts up with you all the time. No, puts up with me all the time. Could have just finished it there. All the time you put in making vids for us. She's okay with it. She gets to watch stuff on TV that I wouldn't watch, so that's fine. I think she's on about the last series of Game of Thrones now, and that doesn't interest me in the slightest. So yeah, I think she's okay with it. Okay, Reese Evans, if you could spend a day in Todd's shed, how much stuff would you break, bearing in mind your record of being clumsy? Everything. I'd break the shed. There wouldn't be anything less. There'd be a few bits of high-end mods and some tube mechs floating around, but there'd be a wall off the shed. Something would be set alight, and it would go horrific. So yeah, that's pretty much why I'm never going to get invited to Todd's. But that's not going to stop me stalking him. So I hope that answers that one. Scott, why did you start doing reviews? Boredom, or figured if Todd can do something like this from shed, I'm damn sure I can do it too. Or question mark. I put a written thing on my website in one of my blogs about why I started vaping, and it was really, why I started doing reviews. Basically, it was just something I thought I'd have a little blat at. I was going to do motorbikes related reviews, and particularly with cruisers, but I thought I'd get a bit of a practice with vaping, which I started doing, and then found that I really enjoyed doing it. Then I had to have a couple of months off work because my body, with the AS and fibro, as well as some burst discs in my spine, body gave up on me, and walking was near on impossible. So I found that if I could focus on doing something positive and worthwhile, and something that I had a product at the end of it I could look back on and feel proud of, that made me a lot happier than myself. So it helped me get through quite a challenging time as well. So that's why I started doing reviews, and that's kind of why I really continued with it. And then once I got the bug, then I just wanted to make it better and better. So I hope that answers that one. From Mark Todd himself, is it true you watch Todd's reviews whilst in the bath? No, but because I don't bath, I have showers. But I am kind of trying to move a big TV into the bathroom so I can stand up and shower whilst watching Todd life size. That's my main aim in life, and yeah, just trying to do that, figuring out a way of making that happen. He's a cock, isn't he? But it's nice to know that Rob Remus and Simon Sawyers both watch you, Mr. Todd, whilst bathing, so that's fine. Right, what else have we got? Matt Hood, have you tried out the Dripbox 160 in TC? Matt, I haven't yet, my friend. I have been rocking it with Carenthal and N80. TC in stainless is going to be next, and then I will throw in an NI200 build as well. But don't worry, it will be fully reviewed in all different modes prior to it. One thing I will say about it, I'm still convinced that it's not quite pushing out what it's saying is pushing out, but I am having a good, enjoyable squonking experience with it thus far. In fact, is both of those coils firing? They are. But there we go. So, yes. From John Norris, is competition wire really worth the extra price over normal wire, i.e. N80 over Anarchist for everyday use, and what are the benefits of competition wire? To be honest, this is a tough one. Not being a meteorologist, I can only go on my experience. Now, I like anarchist wire. I like using anarchist wire. It seems to be a good solid wire. It tends to, for me, I think it has possibly less impurities in it, and I get a nice clean vaping experience from it, so I enjoy it. However, I can't afford to spend 15 quid on a small baggie of it. I can't even remember how much you get now, and I haven't got one to hand. But no, I mean it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It really isn't. So for everyday vaping, no. But I do like it when I give myself a little bit of a treat now and then, or if I'm doing kind of like a 22 gauge build for a mech and I want it to heat up quickly, I want a clean taste, I want to use it at high wattage, then yeah, I'll probably use it for that. But generally, I do use N80 and stainless, and occasionally I throw in a bit of Canthol in there just for shits and giggles. But it's going to be down to your preference, and what I would suggest is if you can get to try it, then try it, and give yourself a taste comparison. Build the same of N80 and the same in Anarchist. Vape exactly the same for a day or two, and see what the differences are. So it's all down to us really. But just to poo-poo it just because, then I think is possibly not a great thing to do. Jimbo Burrell again. If you blindfolded yourself, what colour would the letter 7 smell like? I would say strawberries riding a fish. And Jamie Hepburn, were you surprised at how little John is in real life? He is basically a walking skeleton with spiky hair. Yes, I was. But luckily he was wearing a large coat so we could find him. And if he did walk behind a kind of a lamppost or something like that, we didn't lose him and he couldn't hide from us. So that was all right. Tom Atkinson, what reviews have you got coming up in the future? Oh, that's because I said don't ask what's coming up in the future or something like that. On a serious note, though, do you think the Lords will vote out the TPD? To be honest, it depends how much. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to call that one. It's a tough one. I don't think the odds are in our favour. I don't think we've got enough support because I don't think we've worked hard enough over the last year or two since we've known this is coming, to educate people, to bring people on board, and to help people be aware of how helpful vaping is. So I don't know. Is the honest answer. I've actually been in talks with a couple of Lords and a few people in London. To try and get more of an idea about bits and bobs and how we can help as reviewers and how we can sort of inspire you guys to help. So, it's a tough one to call. To be honest, we'll see what happens after tonight's Horizon on BBC Two, and we'll see if that helps see what the papers say, see if that helps give us a little bit more of a positive vibe out in the big wide world. But who knows? Richard Thorpe, Ricardo, 18650 batteries. How long before you chuck them out? Mine are over a year old now. And what the best type to get? So, for that, Mooch every day of the week. I will try and put some links to Mooch's stuff. I've certainly done that in the past, and I will try and do that both under here and on my website as well, because Battery Mooch tests the living piss out of things and has just got such a variety of tests under his belt now that he comes out with some great stuff. And yeah, so I'll pop a link down for him with regards to what are the best, because it is going to depend on whether you're using a mech and you're looking for a big hit, or whether you're using regulated devices and you're looking for longevity, all that sort of stuff. So it's different horses for courses, and it depends on how you vape. For me personally, I still like using the Samsung 25Rs. I like the Doodoo Browns from LG. I do really want to try the new ones that Mooch has said are a direct equivalent, if not a little bit better than the VTC 4s, which I think, are they the HE2C? Something like that? Or HC2S? Something like that. It's one of those two. I know Evolution Vaping have got them in, and once I get a few pennies together, I'm going to buy a bunch of those to try out, because I'm looking forward to those. But yeah, sorry I can't be more accurate there. You just kind of have to have a look at the research that's gone into them from people like Mooch or Norbert or Torchy, and see what kind of suits your vaping style. Richard Thorpe, that hopefully answers your question, sir. I hope you're enjoying your bikes, by the way. Rob Remus, if you had a giraffe pet, what name would you give him or her? That's all I'm saying about that one. I'm not even talking about giraffes. Do you use beard oil, and if so, which one? I'm not entirely sure if that's a serious question or a fun one, but I do use a little bit of stuff. I've actually been using recently, Boots have had a special with Woodies, a mate called Woodies, Woodys, and I use a beard moisturiser from them, and they've got a beard balm that kind of can help put things together as well. But otherwise I'll tend to use stuff that I get from the place that I go and have a trim and tidy up from now and then, which is Swagger and Jack's. Or Swagger and Jack's in Norwich. They've got a line of stuff which I use and I think is rather good. You can see them online if you so wish. Trevor Gate, thought you were on holiday. Yeah, I'm only taking a couple of weeks off from Ideal Home Show. But there we go. That answers all those questions. So I'm sure that has taken far too long. And I apologise for that. But I'd wanted to answer a bunch of questions. So hopefully that's given a bunch of you some answers. I don't know if there's anything else I can tell you about this week, to be honest with you. I'm going to press on and try and keep the reviews going as much as I can. And at the same time, we're going to see about getting some bits and bobs on the website as well. So if you haven't checked out the website, check vapingbiker.co.uk. That also is a nice, easy place to be able to see my Instagram posts as well, with all the pictures that I try and make it look all arty and various other bits and bobs. So check that out. And also, we've got the Vaping Biker Facebook page as well, which is Facebook. And then if you search Vaping Biker or Vaping Biker Dino, you'll see my logo coming up as a profile picture, and it's not a group, it's a page, because I wanted to give you guys a place so you could write stuff down, and also I could share stuff to Facebook world as well. So that, I think, is as good as we've got. I think we've finally got it. We are just under an hour at the moment with the other bits and bobs. I'm sure we're going to hit an hour. I've got really dry mouth, really dry. There's been considerably less vaping in this video than I'd have hoped. This biker bounty from Strawberry Fields e-liquid is great. I've tried out the Strawberry Fields stuff before, and if you like it, they do things like this Arctic Blueberry, which is they do a normal. Have I got a normal blueberry one here? No, that's an Arctic Strawberry. That's an Arctic Raspberry. Well, they do a normal one anyway. So you'll get a normal blueberry, or you'll get the Arctic version, which obviously has the sort of the mentholy minty kick, which I'm a big fan of. But no, very kindly made me that as well, and I think that's just bloody lovely. I'm really up for that. It's kind of like custard with a bunch of fruit pastels in your mouth at the same time, which I think is brilliant. Mark Todd likes it, and I think Mark likes it mainly because obviously it's got my face on it, it's got a little logo going on there, so I think it helps him feel a little bit closer to me. So I think that's a big draw for him. But there we go. That's that. So I've told you what's coming up. I've told you what's come in. I've answered a bunch of questions. There is going to be some more guitar playing when I can come around to it once again. It's getting the time. I've got some nice kind of divots in my fingers now. I've actually got dented fingers, so that's they're coming through nicely. So hopefully I can get back to playing. So fun times. There's so much going on. I tell you, I need a professional job or I need to be like a professional reviewer or something where I can sit here doing stuff all day, and then I could just fit everything in. There's not enough hours in the day otherwise. But 4 hours sleep a night, tell you. Whew. Is there anything else? No, there isn't. No, there isn't at all. The charity raffle, the bits are still coming in for that, and so they are. I wanted to do it like 2 weeks ago. I really wanted to get that done, but I wanted to also make the prizes kind of a nice little sort of prize selection to come out for you guys, so that's why it's not out as yet. So apologies for the delay on that, but there's more and more bits and bobs coming in, which I hope you guys are going to like. So that, I think, about wraps it up for me. Thank you very much indeed. Is there anything else? No, I'm not even going to bother telling you what I've been watching on YouTube. All the normal stuff, all the guys that I've mentioned before. and just enjoying everybody. So go along and check out Todd's reviews. He needs a little bit of a boost. And also, other people I've been enjoying watching, obviously Inky Vapor, my mate John there, he did a good kind of first look on the Sigelei 213 and has done a couple of good, he actually has done his review on the Limitless as well, and I think he's done a different wicking way of that one, so go and check that out. Vaping, Richard Vic V1CK, been watching his channel as well. He's got some good stuff, and I do like it when he does little funny bits in his videos that makes me giggle. But yeah, the normal stuff otherwise, Suck My Mod, a little bit of Grimm's vlogs and all that sort of good stuff. Ruby, obviously. Ownboy Josh, is that the Ownboy Josh, the little guy, the guy that sort of makes himself little? I've watched a couple of his reviews that I've been enjoying as well. But that, I think, about finishes. So the time frame on here is 54 minutes and 25 seconds. So hopefully I'm going to top and tail it and get this up tonight. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Dean the Vaping Biker. This has been a horribly long vlog. Enjoyed this so much. Thanks very much, and I'll see you soon. Have it large. It's come to an end. I feel it